Hi, this is Mary McCurry again, the Magic Apothecary, here on my podcast for you, information for you about herbs and healing and witchcraft in New York City. I'm a New York City based herbalist and witch. I'm a medicine woman, again, a witch, a special spiritualist. I'm a medium as well, a tarot reader, an astrologer, and now Reiki healer. I'm a singer and also a singing teacher, which I use for healing. I use singing and art for healing, as well as all the other healing arts that I use. I count witchcraft amongst those. I began my spiritual journey as a little girl with my Irish and Italian grandmothers, learning their traditions and branching into the studies of the tarot, palm reading, laying on of hands, and the Catholic vein. All the facets of nature, the nature religion of Wicca, were at my disposal when I was a kid, and I just didn't know it was called Wicca until I got older and discovered it was called Wicca. Or witchcraft. Initiated a Gardnerian witch in a tradition that goes back to Gerald Gardner himself. I'm also an initiated member of the Fellowship of Isis, as well as in the process of forming my own tradition here in Brooklyn, New York, with my working group. So that should be fun. In my travels as a witch and healer, I have been blessed, really, to have studied with some of the best teachers in New York City in both the craft, herbalism, and aromatherapy and Reiki. Some of my teachers include Lady Rhea, Susan Weed, Celtic scholar Alexei Kondrotyev, Pika Trinkle, High Priest Anthony Russell, Druva Di Vittorio, David Winston, David Crow, aromatherapist, and Klingon Joe Zukowski, as well as K-Pacha, the astrologist. So I've also harvested with Steve Brill in Prospect Park, the wild man he's known. I recommend that also highly. So the MAGICAPOTHECARY.com is where this all comes together, and I try to live each day working to heal both myself and those and the world around me as much as I possibly can. I do create products for people if they're interested in them, like teas and oils and incense and baths, massage oils. I do Reiki sessions. I do astrology readings, tarot card readings by appointment as well. I do things for both healing and magic and healing together. So any way you need stuff done, I usually can figure it out. I'm also a New York State licensed cosmetologist, so I do everything really up to code standards. So I am the Magic Apothecary. You're hearing in the background some nature sounds on Spotify.com, one of my favorite places to stay all day. Put it on because I'm going to be talking today a little bit about Brooklyn, New York. And it's wild growing season here. And what I did to accomplish what I needed to accomplish as an herbalist. And actually, I'm in an apprenticeship with Pika Trinkle right now. I'm in 2013, September. I'm still in the process of learning my medicinal herbal work. And one of the things I took on myself as a project this year was to create an herbal garden. Now, I don't live where there's a garden. Many of you may have a garden, and I'm glad for you. Maybe you could let me have a piece of land. But I don't have anything. All I have is pots and a stoop. I was lucky to have a stoop this year and last year because I have a lot of sun in the front here. I have a lot of southern exposure. So northern and southern exposure where I would put my plants. So lots of good light all day long. Lots of shade too for them. There are trees here. I live in a part of Brooklyn that's very green. There are a lot of trees and a lot of fresh air near the water, so I'm lucky in this way, and so are my plants. So, herbal gardens. How does a witch in the city, or how does a witch with limited place to grow things in the city, or even out of the city, do this? Even if you are a witch who has tons of land, how do you do this? Well, of course, if you have tons of land, or good-sized garden, the first thing you want to do is think about where you're going to plant your food crops, right? So those should be close to your house. They should be away from critters that can eat them, in some way safe. And this goes for all your things, too, because I'm going to talk a bit about stuff that's medicinal and also can be sometimes poisonous to animals. So we want to be careful where we put things, okay? Cognizant of animal life. So you want to set up your food garden if you have that much room. If you're lucky, I don't, but thank God for farmers markets, right? So you can also then cordon off a spot for flowers if you like, if you're that lucky. if you're that lucky and you want to put flowers, use magical flowers, please. Use flowers that can be used in magic, and really, truthfully, most flowers can be. You want to look for seeds that are heirloom, if you can find them, for flowers, and organic, and not GMO, not modified in any way. Okay, so that's a task for flowers. But for herbs, it's not as difficult. I found two great sources for medicinal herbs and also for magical herbs. One is superior for magical herbs. This year I did not grow magical herbs myself. I worked only on medicinal herbs, but next year I will be adding those to my repertoire. So what do you need, right? Besides earth, if you have it, land. If you don't have that, and you want to have a small garden, or you want to have a potted garden, obviously the first things you need are either dirt or pots. Well, if you're going to make a stoop garden like I did this year, which was, I think I used 15 or 20 pots. Good sized pots. I have, maybe each pot is about a gallon or 2 gallons, sometimes up to 5 gallons of dirt. And I went and I got organic exterior planting soil for outside. But the first thing I did was actually buy my seeds. And I bought my seeds when the seed catalogs came, and that was in January and February, around the time of Imbolc is when you should be buying your seeds. So that's like February 2nd, 1st is when those seeds should be purchased and ready to go, because in March you want them in little nursery soil, in little pots inside your house, under a grow light if you can have the space for that, or by a warm sunny window if that's a possibility. Okay, so you want to buy your seeds first. And I was luckily able to find a lot of really great seeds at Rose Mountain Herbs. It's easy to find them, rosemountainherbs.com. So they had a large selection of very nice organic, well done, well harvested seeds for medicinal purposes. This year I planted chamomile, which is really a weed. All of these things are weed, actually. My neighbors have been saying to me, who are on both sides of me, full of cultivated, beautiful flowers bought in a hothouse, God knows from where, Goddess knows how it happened. They're just there and pretty and have no smell, obviously. But they say to me, why are you growing weeds? And I keep telling them, I'm not growing weeds. They are medicinal plants. And then they just look at me askance and walk away. Well, whatever. So this year I planted chamomile, as I said, and I've been harvesting off this little plant enough probably now to make a pot of tea. Yay! This is a very high producing plant, and it smells beautiful like apples. So that's been an easy one and a good one, and I know it grows, so I can recommend the chamomile for you. Lavender as well took real well and is making plenty of flowers, and the bees love it. So that's a great thing to use. And both chamomile and lavender can be used for relaxation in tea. They can be ingested, or they can be infused in oil or in a tincture to be taken in alcohol. If you know how to make a tincture, we'll talk about that more in the future. Lots of ways you can use them in a salve. So these are good, nice, clean, and I know they're organic because the seeds were, and I know I didn't put anything on them except love and water. So there's that, and I also grew lemon balm for relaxation as well, and also for healing in many, many different ways. Lemon balm, is a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful plant. You can look her up, see what she does. I also grew California poppy, which hasn't sprouted yet, hasn't made a flower yet, but it's out there and growing huge. We'll see. I don't know if it's September already. I don't know if I'll get flowers, but the plant did work. I was surprised. The California poppy, which is for pain, actually took in Brooklyn. Yay! Also, we have out down there Angelica, which is grown gorgeously. Chamomile, I said calendula. I have licorice root growing, little tiny roots. The roots are so little, but I'm going to harvest them and I'm going to use them. So that's what I have down there. I thought I should make and grow plants that I use. So some of them, I use a tremendous amount of plants and healing stuff, but those are some of the ones I go to for what people ask me the most for, which is relaxation. They can't sleep. They're high anxiety. Remember, I'm a singer and a singing teacher, so my students do come to me with a lot of anxiety about auditions and rehearsals and, performances. So I do get a lot of requests for healing things that include sedation of some sort. So that's why I grow a lot of that. But also just to see how they grow. It's one thing to buy plants online in a bag and they're cut and sifted and organic, and use them. But it's another to really live with them and get to know them. I'm going to be going to a very special seminar at the end of the month. I'm getting to know your plant familiars, and I'll be talking about that at the request of the person who runs this website. These podcasts go up on Brian Brewer, really wonderful witch in the New York City area who does great things for the community. Thank you, Brian. But I'm going to be talking about that very thing, meeting and knowing plants and getting to know them better. And this year I think I achieved some of that. I think I understand them. Also able to just pick them out of their pots and eat them, pop them right in my mouth. They're all safe, these plants I grew. So that's what I did. What I experienced was just this sort of a wonderful feeling of being able to grow my medicine. If I had more land, I certainly would have put up much more. In my apprenticeship program, we are growing a huge garden full of very interesting herbs of all sorts, all sorts. Apothecary roses being one thing that's an unusual thing to see that's growing out there, and celandine and elecampane and all these beautiful, very intensely fantastic healing herbs that I'm getting my hands in. I suggest it highly as a witch. It's our mother. It's the goddess, the earth herself, and the god himself rising, the green man, all around us. They're here for us. They're here to give us, to be part of us, to be one with us. So get out and check that stuff out if you can. You can also not use seeds if it's a difficult thing. And next year I may do this myself somewhat. Go to a nursery. There are nurseries in New Jersey, farms that do this as well, where you can buy medicinal herbs it's already started for you in teeny tiny pots, and all you have to do is transfer them like you would any other plant from one pot to another. Very simple stuff. Again, if you have questions about this stuff, get in touch with me at 347-492-0534, or you can write to me at the Magical Apothecary, TheMagicApothecary @gmail.com. The Magical Apothecary @gmail.com. There's be information up on my website as well at themagicapothecary.com. The Magic, MAGIC, no AL on that one, .com. Okay, so back to talking about this. So herbal gardens, please do try. Even if you grow one thing, even if you find yourself really attracted to one herb that you use over and over again. Maybe it's basil. I had my working study group here, my witchcraft group, plant basil at the beginning of the growing season. And we did a full moon, and everybody there wanted to have money, of course. So we used basil, which is a money-drawing herb, and we planted it. And I'll tell you what, it's still growing, and I've been cooking with it all summer. So yay for basil. But easy to do. Seeds are easy. They need love, they need warmth, they need water. Pretty much. So that's a way to start. You can start with a simple flower if you feel drawn to, say, geranium or roses, or, as I said before, or any kind of flower, orange blossom, any kind of flower will do. Okay, carnations will do. Anything you have an affinity for, grow it. Grow it yourself. Grow one thing. Grow something next year. So I'm talking now during the fall season, just before Mabon, before the harvest of the fall equinox. And there are things growing everywhere. I suggest pretty strongly that you get out there. I just spent an entire weekend harvesting gazobules, huge, gigantic gazobule amounts of goldenrod. Goldenrod is proliferate everywhere right now in September and a little bit longer. And it's wonderful for healing. It is one of the best things to deal with for healing. It also has great magical properties. Okay, so there's that. Also, I wanted to say, looking for seeds. Let's talk about poison. Let's talk about that for a moment. And many witches use things like wolfsbane or other such poisonous substances like lily of the valley, poke root. These things can be used for multiple reasons. Not to kill people. Please never, ever consider anything that drastic or dark or really damaging to your own spirit. However, they can be used for binding spells. They can be used even sometimes for healing in very small amounts. Okay, so if you're a witch that likes to work with herbs that are very powerful, here's one place on the internet you can find them. It's called alchemyworks.com, ALCHEMY works, WORKS.com. And he has huge amounts of selection. He has old kinds of seeds that can't be found anywhere else, and he cultivates them and collects them and loves them. He has wonderful medicinal organic herb seeds as well. So that's somebody to support if you're interested in